Well, we're up here at Gales Creek on Highway 6, and we have a hike planned for today. We're going to go up Storey Burn Trail up to the top, and then come back down on the Gales Creek trail there, the one that drops down from Highway 6 down into Gales Creek. And we might swing around the backside depending on if we have enough gumption and it's not raining too hard yet time we get up there. So right now it's not raining, but it's predicted to start somewhere around noon, and we're just kind of hoping we get through most of this without having to put the rain pants on. Well, this time of year, it's really kind of neat up in here because the leaves are off and you can see the trail winds out through that way. And the trail is really nice. One thing about the wintertime, it seems like the rain washes a lot of mud off. So you might get into a deep mucky area, but generally my experience has been the trail's not bad. So, but it's just really kind of starkly beautiful out here, this kind of weather. Now Mike was telling me all the things that I need to make my videos good. I need to have a drone, I need to have some kind of a mapping thing that shows the route as we go through it. And he's been watching these Irish hiking videos, or trail running videos, or what were they?
Yeah, you got it, Pat. That's exactly right, eh?
They. Well, here's some blowdown from this year. One of the things about these trails is ODF takes care of them, and they have their crews from South Fork that come through, and they do a pretty good job at clearing the trails, and it also gives them good training for when they're fighting fires in the summertime. So it works out pretty good. And there's an old, looks like probably a cedar stump up there that's still got the notch from back in the day when they notched them, climbed up them, and cut the trees down. Here's some more of the blowdown along the trail. We've had just really weird winds this year. I grew up on the coast. I'm used to this area and used to the wind directions, and our wind directions have been odd. With the storms and stuff and the track going into California, instead of normally that track would be coming and hitting us. And so we're getting different wind directions because the storms are then working their way up on the coast, just offshore a lot of the time. And then we're getting these east winds that we don't normally have. Mike and I were talking about that, and we both have grown up in the Northwest, and we don't remember having any of these east winds like we're having this year. We've had east winds, but the east winds we'd have would come with the freezing weather, and it'd be cold and dry, and even when they howled, they usually weren't this strong. But we're going to go up around this little root wad, and the trail runner went through just a little bit ago, and I always find that ironic because, now we're packing all this emergency gear in case we have, if somebody gets hurt and we have to spend some time out here. And the trail runner was just a trail runner. It's not that far. It's only like 7-8 mile run for the trail runner. I used to do that, and I'd look at the people with the backpacks on, and I'd be like, I'm carrying my water, and so we talked about that. Now, one of the events that changed things for me was also ended my trail running was my knee. When my knee got messed up, I had some cartilage damage, and I had been out elk hunting that day. I was a bow hunter, and I'd been up hiking around these canyons, kind of a nasty canyon that of course that's where the elk are. And I'd come out, and in time I wanted to go for my run, And I went for my run, and about 2.5 miles, right about 2.5 miles where it happened, my knee just started hurting, and I was done. I couldn't get it back. I couldn't get it to do anything, and I ended up having to walk home. And it was not a fun experience. And then I messed around with that for about a year before I went in and talked about surgery to get it fixed, and they ended up doing a cartilage kind of a transplant thing into my knee, and were able to get me back and going again. They had to realign my kneecap and stuff, so it took me about 6 months before I was back up to getting around and working out again. But that kind of made me think that, you know, I'm getting into my 60s, and, you know, something could go wrong, just a twisted ankle or whatever, and you're spending a day or a night out here. And so we started carrying a lot of extra gear. We're going up the Storey Burn Trail to the Storey Burn Trailhead, which is 2.3 miles. And then we're debating about whether we want to hit part of the Gravel Brothers Trail. And here we go. Well, we've come across, you know, some of the clear cuts up here. And here's where I'll say stuff that maybe not everybody agrees with, but clear cuts don't bother me. At least here in the Coast Range, this is all this is a working forest. You have the state forest, which was planted after the Tillamook burn pretty much turned it into a desolate wasteland, and there's a lot of documentation on that. And so it's a working forest, and recreation is one piece of it. So it doesn't really bother me too much. Now, if I was in a wilderness area, that'd be a different issue. But out here, it's just part of what we're doing. The ground's beautiful, and it's part of the life cycle. You know, you have to have the early soil habitat, and this country tends to grow up, and you don't have much of anything. When you look over there into the fern flats, you don't have a lot of you know, habitat variety like you would have when this grows up over here. Now, if they get into the herbicide applications and stuff, we got a different conversation going there. Pretty nice little waterfall here. There's actually a plunge fall just down below that's kind of behind some trees in the brush a little bit. It's hard to see. Well, here's the trail we just came up, and it's a pretty good trail. We were just talking about that, how the trails this time of year seem to be in better shape than sometimes even in the summers. On these trails up here in the state forest, unless you're going through a marshy area or you're, you know, crossing a creek or something, they usually tend to be pretty decent during the winter time. They built them with that in mind. Well, we're coming up to the road here. The mic just hit the road. The trail crosses the road. This is Storey Burn Road. And then we're going to follow the trail up to the trailhead, which is right there. And then we're going to figure out where we're going to go from there. Okay, we're here at the Storey Burn Trailhead, and we came up this way. It's one of my favorite trails, the Storey Burn Trail. We were going to hook around here, but it looks like this section is closed. So probably a bunch of blowdown, my guess. And so we're just going to have to go down the road and then hit this trail and go back down to where we're parked. But this is kind of a neat trailhead. It also probably doubles as an emergency heli-spot. The forestry put a bunch of these in. You know, they use them for firefighting and things like that. A place you can set a helicopter down, or if they have an ATV accident, they can set a helicopter down, life flight and things like that. So that's one of the reasons you'll go up in places in the Tillamook Forest and you'll find out in the middle of nowhere there's a big open area, and that's why they built it. Well, we're going to do a little bit of road walking. We opted to do that rather than go down to the other section. Turns out that it looks like that other section might be open. The closed section was between that junction and between there and University Falls. But if it's a bunch of blowdown, I think we'd probably just be just as soon as head on out this way and maybe worry about that another day. Okay, we're now ready to go back down on a trail, and we're going to drop down to Gales Creek on the Gales Creek Trail. 2.8 miles down to the trailhead, and that's where we're parked. It has definitely all of a sudden gotten colder. We felt that coming down Storey Burn. We went around a corner and wham. Now it's getting kind of chilly. I may have to stop and put my rain jacket back on just to warm up a little bit. I do have gloves and they are definitely getting put on. We came to a fork in the trail, and there's a trail down below us, and we're just figuring out which one we want to go on today. This trail has not been brushed out or had the trees cut out as much. We've had to climb through and under and over some trees on this one. Nothing serious, but it just hasn't been worked on. You know, the crews can only go so far so fast. Oh, we've come across this. Again, I've been down through here before, and as usual, there's quite a bit of water at this time of year. I've always wondered if this was an excellent impoundment back in the days of the burn. They used to have a bunch of those, and then eventually they came in and opened a lot of them up so they would drain. And I just kind of wondered if that's what this was. You can see where there's been a road or something built around the head of it there to dam it up. Or it just could be Mother Nature. Mother Nature can do all that too. The predicted rain has come in right about when it was supposed to, and it's been gradually increasing to a rain. We're close enough to the trailhead. I just threw my rain jacket on, and lots of these little creeks and little bridges. This is a really nice trail system in here. It does need the crew to go through it, and eventually they'll get through it, and because they take pretty good care of these trails. Okay, we're getting down pretty close to the bottom. Got a nice bridge. Of course, these things are slick with the leaves and that stuff on them, but you just got to be careful. Been a lot of rain this year, and the creek's coming down pretty good. And over there's a cedar stump with the notches cut in it for the springboards from back in the day. This is a really good loop. I think we're going to be in the 7-ish mile range when we get done, and even with the rain, it wasn't bad, and it only rained the last little bit. And if you're not afraid to get a little rain on you, your coastal range isn't necessarily the place to go. But there's a trailhead. You can see the top of the outhouse, and this is probably going to be it for this trip. It's been a good one. Been fun.